Good morning, everyone. It's 10 a.m. and I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Board of Directors this Friday, July 25th, 2025. Please note this meeting is being recorded. Thank you to everyone joining us today in person and through our audio option. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Thank you. I was just double checking that we had everybody online that could hear us now. And I'm just going to ask, Justine, are you able to hear us there?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thanks for checking in. All right, I'm going to start with Director Devlin, who's absent. Engardia.
Present.
Barbarino. Present. Giudice.
Here.
Hardiman is absent. Hernandez.
Here.
Maston.
Here.
Moulton Peters is absent. Barb. Present. Parrish is absent. Rodoni is absent. Sauter.
Present.
Snyder.
Present.
Here.
Present.
Second Vice President Rabbit is absent. First Vice President Hill
Present.
and President Cochran.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. As a reminder, please be sure to turn on your mic when we open it up for director discussion so everyone can hear. Please raise your hand and the secretary, I will call on you. And if we miss you, please say something. Following any discussion, we'll take the appropriate votes. Please follow along by referring to the page number located at the bottom right-hand corner of your meeting. Director Giudice, would you please lead us in the pledge of allegiance? Of course. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Secretary, please continue with the next item on our agenda.
Thank you. We're going to move on to item number 4 for any and all comments on today's agenda. If you wish to speak on an item on our agenda or address this board, I'm going to call your name to join us at the end of the table to provide your comments. I'm going to start with the people attending in person today before we move on to the people who are online. Yes. And because we do have a number of people online, we are asking that everyone keep their comments to 2 minutes. The first person I'm going to invite is Mr. Dave Brody. If I can have you join us at the end of the table.
Good morning. My name is Dave Brody. I'm the San Francisco Policy Co-Chair for the Climate Reality Project. Let's talk again about electric ferries. In April, dozens of environmental groups representing thousands of Bay Area citizens petitioned you to commit to electric ferries. 70% of ferries currently on order globally operate with electric drivetrains. Of the 15,400 ferries in operation around the world, new ones are overwhelmingly electric, and most of the older ones are being retrofitted with electric drivetrains. Norway has 70 all-electric ferries in operation today. Viking Lines is about to launch the Helios, which will operate on a 50-mile route from Finland to Estonia. Fully electric, it has the capacity to carry 650 cars, 2,000 passengers, and travels at 23 knots. The all-electric China Zillow in Argentina carries up to 2,100 passengers, 225 cars, and travels at 25 knots. Sweden's Candela P12 electric hydrofoil ferry hits 30 knots and is so efficient it requires just one operator and results in 50% reduction in operating costs. I'm familiar with the 1920 Jones Act that requires U.S. maritime vessels to be built by U.S. firms. But we all know that U.S. builders are fully capable of electric ferry technology. The Golden Gate Bridge District is in the position to incentivize them, to task them with the job of building electric ferries that meet your needs. Your predecessors built a bridge that everyone thought was impossible. You raised the money, and your engineers figured out how to build a suicide prevention barrier. With the engineering talent of your staff and the know-how and political acumen of this board, you can figure out how to electrify your ferries. You owe it to the Bay Area, to the people united around the iconic structure you represent. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodey. Our next speaker is going to be Eric Kahn.
Morning. My name is Eric Kahn. I'm a resident of the East Bay, and I'm here to urge the board to drop the restitution charges against the so-called Golden Gate 26. I've lived in the Bay Area for almost 50 years now. We use the Golden Gate Bridge constantly for activities up in Marin, and we've often experienced incidents, accidents, whatnot on the bridge that have delayed us unexpectedly, and we've had to take alternate routes. But importantly, with all of the incidents over the many years in the Golden Gate Bridge District, to my knowledge, the board has never set any restitution for traffic closure cases. And this even includes an anti-vaccine protest in 2021 that led to the injury of 5 people, including 3 of your own bridge workers. So I'm curious why you would start now with this protest of a humanitarian crisis. Not to get political, but I've historically been a supporter of Israel, which has been forced to fight for its freedom since its founding as a nation. But the past 2 years since the Hamas attack, it's just been a total humanitarian disaster, and I just can't understand any longer how Israel feels that they must kill so many innocent civilians. It's truly a genocide. And Gaza, which is literally only 2% the size of the Bay Area, I think it's 140 square miles, is left now with just rubble and death and now starvation. When I first heard via the television about the protest that was taking place on the bridge, frankly, I just felt immense pride that so many young adults in the Bay Area felt that necessary to get together to have this protest and to build awareness in Northern California, across the country, which carried the story about the human tragedy that's happening overseas.
Eric, would you please finish up?
Yeah, sure.
What's up?
They fielded this protest out of love for their fellow human beings. And they were one of the first in the country to do so. So now we have 70,000 dead people over there, mass starvation, and nothing's really happening.
Eric,
so again, I encourage you to drop the restitution charges.
Thank you for your comments.
The next speaker is Eileen Kahn.
Good morning, all of you, and thank you for allowing us to speak today. My name is Eileen Kahn, and I also live in the East Bay, married to Eric Kahn. And I'm here again to ask you to drop the charges against the Golden Gate 26. My husband and I have lived in the East Bay, or the San Francisco Bay Area, for over 60 years. I'm a 4th generation San Francisco Bay Area person. We use the Golden Gate Bridge all the time for a number of reasons: shopping, hiking in Mount Tam, visiting friends and family. And several times during when we've gone across, we've hit traffic accidents. We've hit traffic accidents that were fatalities. And you might notice on the thing, I'm a retired nurse. I worked for 43 years. At the end of my career, I was a executive at Sutter Health, and the diversion that occurred with our GPS took us across the San Rafael Richmond Bridge, right? And never did I stop to think, gosh, I should get restitution because I had to go this long way around. Never did I think that. So the board has never, as my husband said, never set restitution claims before. And in some ways, these young adults that were on the bridge, they were the canaries in the coal mine. They were the first Americans to stand up and say the Gaza war is a genocide of the Palestinian people. Today, almost 2 years later, we have 70,000 dead people. most of them women and children. And the part that took my heart away was when I saw the doctors and nurses and the 5 hospitals destroyed there. As a nurse and a hospital administrator that has fought for patients' rights and a patient advocacy, I was shocked by that. Today in the press, just last night, we watched the news and we saw all the starving children in the Gaza Strip. So again, I request that this high dollar amount restitution claim is being weaponized by the district attorney in San Francisco to bolster a felony prosecution against these young adults. This charge is, yes, I am. Thank you, sir. This charge is highly overstated given that this was a peaceful demonstration. On your website, you post numerous protests that have taken place on the bridge. As a young child, my mother was one of the first to walk across the Golden Gate Bridge in 1933 on opening day. That's important. She loved the bridge. She loved San Francisco. And she would be shocked to hear what is happening in her beloved city today.
Would you please?
Yes, I'm going to finish.
You said that a minute ago now, please.
Thank you for your consideration of this. And I strongly urge you to drop the claim against the Golden Gate 26. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Miki Hidaka.
Good morning, members of the board and staff. My name is Miki Hidaka. I'm with Virgin Card Associates, which is a disadvantaged business enterprise. We are subject to Jacobs Engineering. But firstly, I am a Marin resident. I live in Mill Valley, and I'm a frequent rider of Golden Gate, Marin Transit, and Smart Train. And I recently attended the Marin Transit open house on Wednesday evening and was very excited and very appreciative for all the work that Golden Gate, Marin Transit, and Smart are doing in collaboration to align all the lines, the routes, and to provide greater frequency down the 101 corridor, which I often use. Also, at the open house, I met members of the Golden Gate staff, the planning staff, and I spoke to Francis Tremblay, and he reported to me that Golden Gate has recently installed solar panels at your San Rafael bus yard in anticipation of electrification. And I just wanted to express my excitement and appreciation for Golden Gate's commitment to transitioning to zero emissions by 2040. And very excited with Virgin Card Associates and Jacobs to contribute to that program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our last speaker in the room will be Andy Gonzio.
Morning, everyone. My name is Andy Guercio with Eco Green Solutions. We have done some work with you guys in the past with the Anderson Drive location. We represent the PG&E Energy Efficiency Program, which is funded by the Public Purpose Fund, which we all pay into, including the board here. About 10% of your bill goes into this fund for a number of different programs. One of them is energy efficiency. I just heard somebody say you're getting solar. This is energy reduction, which you want to do before you do any solar or battery or anything like that, because you'll save quite a bit of money on your solar panels. But I'm just here to let you guys know these funds are available to you to continue with your other locations. We actually did survey the Santa Rosa location as well, and we haven't moved forward. There were some difficulties that came about from the San Rafael job, which was some lighting complaints from people up on the hill. We could have easily put some shields on those lights, which we offered to do, but then we were told you guys were redesigning that facility itself. So I just want you guys to know that these funds are still available, and we're happy to help the authority out and survey the other locations. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers in the room that we might have missed that want to speak today? And if so, I would say raise your hand and I'd invite you to the table to speak. Okay, I'm not seeing any. I'm going to move to Justine, who's going to moderate the public line. Justine, I'm going to turn it over to you for any speakers on your public line.
Good morning. Thank you. I do have at least 12 speakers this morning, and then I would like to poll at the end if time allows and if the president is okay with that. Our first speaker this morning is Mia Khan. Mia, please go ahead and unmute your phone. You have 2 minutes to speak.
Hello, my name is Mia Khan, and I'm a resident of Berkeley, and I urge the Golden Gate Bridge District Board of Directors to immediately drop the restitution claim against the Golden Gate 26. I was born and raised in San Francisco. I grew up going to Crissy Field, the Presidio. I could see the Golden Gate Bridge from my school's rooftop in Pacific Heights, where we played soccer and basketball as kids. The Golden Gate Bridge is the symbol of a city that raised me and taught me the values of community, tolerance, and respect. Now, your board is demanding that the 26 brave individuals who stopped the world for Gaza pay $162,554 in restitution for toll revenue loss. I am appalled. These people had the dignity and bravery to stand on the right side of history and protest U.S. tax dollars funding a genocide. These brave individuals acted in a manner that saw the genocide in Gaza for the emergency that it was and continues to be right now. 70,000 people have been killed in Gaza, more than the population of the entire Sunset District. Board members, you have the power and opportunity to make a choice. I urge you all to think deeply about this. Make a motion to drop the restitution. Stand on the right side of history. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker this morning is Bella Lanastor. Bella, please unmute your device, and you have 2 minutes to speak.
Yes, thank you. My name is Bella Lanastor, and I'm a resident of California. I have family passing your bridge every day. My child is part of a 7th-generation San Francisco real estate family with a history of contribution to the Bay Area, and that stands for freedom of expression and respect. My child is one of the arrestees who, along with the other Golden Gate 26, has been waiting for over a year to get on trial. I am calling to urge you to drop the restitution claim against the Golden Gate 26. The board has never set restitution for any traffic closure case. This includes a protest in 2021 that led to the injury of 5 people, including 3 bridge workers. So why now? We are in a moment of escalating state repression, targeting immigrants, citizens protesting, academics. On your website, you say the Golden Gate Bridge stands at the entrance to California's San Francisco Bay as a symbol of American ingenuity, etc. Don't let this board target protesters advocating for a group of people victim of a genocide and be a stain on the symbol of San Francisco. I'm asking you to uphold these values and drop the restitution. I will be watching your participation in this case closely, as will thousands of Bay Area residents. And again, I urge you to drop the restitution again, immediately. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Our next speaker this morning is Annie Lee. Annie Lay, please unmute your device. You have 2 minutes to speak.
Hello, my name is Dr. Annie Lay. I'm a resident of San Francisco and a physician in San Francisco who serves our most marginalized communities. I'm calling on you to drop the restitution claim against GG26. I have been devastated by the genocide and the destruction of the healthcare infrastructure in Gaza, and now Palestinians are facing forced starvation, with a sharp rise in those dying from hunger just this week, and as 1,000 Palestinians have been killed simply trying to access aid. As our tax dollars fund this genocide, there is increasing inequity, hunger, and unemployment in our own country, with increasing governmental cuts to social services as our neighbors are being abducted by ICE. What recourse do ordinary people have to stand against fascism and genocide? This is a horror that we are facing in these times. Your high restitution claim is being weaponized by the DA to bolster a felony prosecution. During the preliminary hearing, Judge Conroy said he couldn't reduce the felony charges to misdemeanors simply because of it. The high restitution claim forces the GG26 to trial, costing taxpayers far more than the claim itself. We, as taxpayers, do not condone this waste of our money to pursue trial against the Golden Gate 26 during an ongoing genocide. Our tax dollars must be protected to fund life-giving services, healthcare, education, and housing. You have the opportunity to send this message. We urge you to do that and stand with the thousands of Bay Area residents who are urging you to drop the restitution claim. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Hediye Matenrad.
Hello,
Hediye.
my name is Dr. Hediye. Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Hi, my name is Dr. Hediye Matenrad. I am a resident of San Francisco Bay Area, and I work at hospitals in San Francisco, where I work as a hospice and palliative medicine physician, which means caring for people, your loved ones and my loved ones, as they have a serious illness and are at the end of their lives. I am calling to urge, as others have, that the board, the Golden Gate Bridge District Board of Directors, immediately drop the restitution claim against the Golden Gate 26. I have, as a mother to a toddler, as a physician who cares people who are at the end of their lives, witnessed heartbroken as children have been killed and now are being starved to death during this genocide of the Palestinian people in Gaza. And every time protesters in our beautiful San Francisco Bay Area stand up and draw attention to this genocide that our government and our taxpayers are actively supporting, I am filled with pride. We have heard from many speakers about how this high restitution claim is being weaponized by the DA to bolster felony persecution, which, because of it, the felony charges can't be decreased to misdemeanors. And we have also heard from many other folks that there's not even precedence for this happening. And what there is precedent for is doing the right thing. In 2014, the Board of Directors dropped the restitution claim against 14 racial justice activists who shut down the West Oakland BART station for several hours. Changing course shows integrity and not weakness. And I urge you all, as the Board of Directors, for the bridge that means so much to so many people, that to me, as an immigrant, as a 12-year-old immigrant from Iran, got to see and be awed by and have gotten to use for many, many years since, for this to be held up as a symbol of dignity and integrity, and not as a symbol of persecution of activists who are reminding us all of the genocide that our taxpayer money is being used for. I will be watching your participation in this case closely, as will thousands of Bay Area residents. And again, I urge you to drop the restitution claim immediately. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker this morning is Emily Ross. Emily, please unmute yourself. You have 2 minutes to speak.
Good morning, board members, staff, and community. My name is Emily Ross. I'm a lifelong Bay Area resident. I'm currently residing in Richmond. I am also calling to urge you, Golden Gate Bridge District Board of Directors, to drop the restitution claim against the Golden Gate 26. You know, as a lifelong resident, that bridge has so much meaning to me, and it's really been made ugly by this restitution claim. It has served as a symbol not only of a literal physical bridge, but also a bridge between communities, and that has been damaged by sort of joining with the DA's office in this sort of politically motivated attack on some beautiful folks who we're standing up for against the U.S. Israeli-backed genocide in Palestine. As others have mentioned, you have power here, you have the ability to change the course of what happens for these folks. And I urge you to be on the right side of history here by dropping this restitution claim. And I, like many others, will continue to follow your participation in this. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Carrie Leung. Carrie, please unmute your device. You have 2 minutes to speak.
Hi, my name is Carrie Leung, and I'm a resident of San Francisco. I've lived in San Francisco for 17 years, and I am raising 2 children in San Francisco. I'm calling, like so many other on this call, to urge the Golden Gate Bridge District Board of Directors to immediately drop the restitution claim against the Golden Gate 26. Growing up, we learn about protests in America, and like the Bay Area has always stood out to me as like kind of a beacon of protest. The anti-war sentiments in the Vietnam War, for the same-sex marriage and legalizing it so that couples have the same rights, racial justice. Those are all things that like San Francisco, or in general the Bay Area, has been very proud of. And so it's very shocking to me that like the younger people now who saw it right from the beginning, and I think it's the brave thing to do, to try to stop more people from being killed, is essentially being punished by the DA for speaking out. I think what they did is they were trying to stop more people from dying, and now the toll is just really, really high, and so many of them are women and children. Personally, I am grateful that they spoke up for it, or else the world would be pretty bleak. I'm in awe that they were brave enough to do that at the beginning. And so I really do urge the board of directors to make the right choice and not essentially punish them for speaking out and not working with the DA to punish them. Like so many said before, I will be watching your participation in this case closely. And I think a lot of people in San Francisco are actually watching this too. One more thing, like I think there's a similar event that happened on the Bay Bridge 78, and they did not have to pay restitution, I believe. So this is kind of an odd thing that it's not treated the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker this morning is Laura Cohen. Laura, please unmute. You have 2 minutes to speak.
Hello, thank you. My name is Laura Cohen. I have lived in the Bay Area, specifically in San Francisco, for 15 years. I live in the Tenderloin currently. And as a Jewish person, I have to say that I don't feel unsafe when people protest against genocide. I feel unsafe when they don't. And quite frankly, our DA is doing everything she can to continue her reign of corruption by asking people to turn a blind eye to things like genocide. And at this point in time, I really think it's morally bankrupt of you to pursue these restitution charges. Honestly, like I'm about to cry right now because I'm so mad that anyone would think it's okay to tamp down on protests when it is our right, it is our moral duty to protest against events like these. I really don't have anything else to say, but I ask you to look inside your heart and consider the fact that children are being murdered every single day for nothing. So I yield my time. Please drop the charges.
Thank you. Our next caller is Marissa Moorhead. Marissa, you have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marissa Moorhead. I'm a resident of Richmond. I'm calling to urge, as many have before me, to drop the restitution claims against the Golden Gate 26. As has been mentioned earlier, the board has never pushed these sort of restitution charges for any other protests or bridge closures for any other reasons. It really begs the question, why this protest? Why is the board pushing restitution charges against a group of people protesting a genocide, protesting the continued murder of innocent people and children that has not ceased since the protest over a year ago? This was a peaceful demonstration protesting the genocide in Gaza, and this politically motivated prosecution is draining our city's public resources. Your high restitution claim forces them to trial, and that is an absolute waste of taxpayer dollars. It's really not too late to change course. I am personally full of pride and respect for the people who chose to risk their freedom to protest this genocide. That act takes courage and bravery that this board seems to currently be lacking. The board has the opportunity to do the right thing. As has been mentioned, the BART board dropped the restitution claim back in 2014 against 14 activists who shut down the West Oakland BART station. Changing course shows integrity, not weakness. You have the opportunity to be on the right side of history, and I heavily encourage you to do that. We are in a national moment of escalating state repression, targeting immigrants, protesters, and academics. On your website, you say the Golden Gate Bridge stands at the entrance to California's San Francisco Bay as a symbol of American ingenuity and resolve. Don't let this board's political targeting of protesters be a stain on the symbol of San Francisco. Uphold these values and drop the restitution.
Thank you. Our next caller is Maya Baltzley. Maya, please unmute your device. You have 2 minutes to speak.
Hi, my name is Maya Baltzley. Thank you all so much for listening. I'm a resident of Oakland and a longtime resident of California. I'm calling to urge the Golden Gate Bridge District Board of Directors to immediately drop the restitution claim against the Golden Gate 26. As we all watch the Israeli government disobey international law to commit a genocide against the Palestinian people, with America knowingly as its partner, fueled by millions of our tax dollars, how can we expect local Americans bearing witness to simply just abide in peaceful protest by laws that are not respected by our very own leaders and dollars? The 26 local community members on that Bay Bridge could no longer just bear witness, as innocent children and families, now over 70,000, continue to be murdered. And this doesn't live in the past. Every 12 minutes, a Palestinian in Gaza is killed. In the face of this genocide, we can't apprehend those making the world stop in a call toward our shared humanity. And I think it speaks volumes that D.A. Jenkins is attempting to attack in this way. And I will be watching your participation in this case closely, as will thousands of Bay Area residents and those on this call, and again urge you to drop the restitution claim immediately. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker this morning is Michael Lyon. Michael, please unmute. You have 2 minutes to speak this morning.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I'm Michael Lyon from Berkeley. You know, when the Golden Gate Bridge 26 first blocked and were arrested, the restitution charges were filed. That was wrong at the time, and that was just at the stage where people were first beginning to realize that this was a genocide. But back then it was a genocide of bombs. And it was also a time when people were starting to realize that this was a genocide and needed to be opposed. But consider what the situation is now. Not only is it a genocide of bombs and sniping, but it's also a genocide of starvation. And this whole time, the United States has been involved in it, arming Israel, defending it in the United Nations, and totally allowing this to happen and making it happen. Now, what's happened in the meantime is the genocide has become much worse. But what's also changed is that there has been a huge nationwide repression of anyone who objects to the Palestinian genocide. And your lack of, your not having dropped the restitution charges at this point is a part of that repression that's happening. So you need to drop those restitution charges immediately and not be part of this repression that's happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Rose Cohen Westbrook. Rose, you have 2 minutes to speak.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rose Cohen Westbrook, and I'm a resident of Oakland. I'm born and raised in Oakland, and I'm joining this meeting today to urge the Golden Gate Bridge District Board of Directors to drop these claims against the Golden Gate 26. I feel really lucky to have grown up in a place like the Bay Area that has a long history of where individuals and communities speak up against oppression and injustice. And we are living in a moment of escalating backlash against folks like this who speak up, as well as immigrants and academics. And I encourage you to intervene right away in these claims. This will cost taxpayers far more than the claim itself if you force this to go to trial. And as others have shared, there's a precedent for doing the right thing. In 2014, the Board of Directors dropped their restitution claim against the 14 racial justice activists who shut down the West Oakland BART. And it's not too late for you as well to change course. Please consider the impact of this, and we will be watching the outcome of this decision. And thank you for your time.
Our next speaker this morning is Alida Dupree. Alida, please unmute your phone. You have 2 minutes to speak.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair, Gerald Cochran, and members. Alida Dupree, for the record, she and her with Team Folds. Minutes look good, but there's a typo. So Team Folds is, I'll spell it, F as in Foxtrot, O as in Oscar, L as in Lima, D as in Delta, S as in Sierra. So we want to fix that typo. Team Folds. I'm reflecting back on our previous meeting when we had to repeal a resolution, and I'm grateful for the new resolution that we made. I do stand more with the 3 who voted no. That being said, I'm asking you as a board and as an agency to be very intentional in moving forward in ensuring that our district practices the ideals of welcome and diversity and inclusion that I've always known this district to stand for. Because I'm very different from you. And I'm really appreciative of the work of your general manager, Dennis Mulligan, who has always welcomed me into the system. I consider Dennis Mulligan to be my good friend. Our strength is in diversity. You know, I think agricultural things, monoculture. Monoculture isn't a good thing. That's why we rotate crops, because otherwise you deplete the soil. So therefore, too, our strength is our diversity. I want us to hire the best of the best, people who are hungry to perform public service and hopefully have long, productive careers with Golden Gate Transit and continue to show the welcome onto the district as you have shown me always. Thank you.
Thank you. President Cochran, that concludes my list, but I would like to poll, if you don't mind. We may have had a few callers that joined after we started. Thank you. If you'd like to speak this morning at the board meeting, please use ** to unmute yourself, and I'll take you in order, and please give me your name.
Bradley Harger.
Bradley, can you spell your last name for me?
Harger.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that's joined us that would like to speak this morning?
Yes, Mesa Marar.
Thanks, Mesa. Can you hold on one moment, please? I'll take your order. Is there anyone else that would like to speak this morning? Please mute your phone once we've spoken.
Deborah Joy.
Can you spell your name for me? Is it Deborah?
DEBORAH, last name JOY.
Thank you, Deborah. Is there anybody else that's joined us this morning that would like to speak? Please use ** to unmute yourself and let me know.
Wendy Singh.
Thank you, Wendy. Is there anybody else that's joined us that would like to speak this morning? Please use ** to unmute yourself and let me know. Okay, I'm not hearing anybody else, so our next speaker is Bradley Harger. Bradley, you have 2 minutes to speak.
Thank you. The name is Bradley Harger. I've been a resident of the Bay Area, Oakland, Berkeley, all my life. Vietnam veteran who participated in many demonstrations against that debacle. Retired from the Oakland Fire Department after 30 years, so yes, I have been a public servant. The fact that these people went on the bridge to stand up against a genocide, a potential genocide, to me should be commended, not punished. There's been many demonstrations for many occasions, but nobody's ever been billed for it. I'm wondering why, at this time, the board decided to do this. Are they in somebody's pocket, or somebody's pocket, or what? I don't understand. They should be commended. They should be praised. They should not be punished. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Maisa Morar. Maisa, please unmute yourself. You have 2 minutes to speak.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maisa Morar. I'm a resident of Alameda County, and I'm a Palestinian. I was born and raised in the beautiful Bay Area, and I have been working as a physician associate here for 5 years. I'm calling to urge the Golden Gate Bridge District Board of Directors to immediately drop the restitution claim against the Golden Gate 26. These protesters acted out of a moral urgency to demand an end to the genocide in Gaza, something that has moved millions around the world to take action. Pursuing restitution only serves to punish principled dissent and sets a dangerous precedent against peaceful protest, a proud culture that we hold here in San Francisco, where we have, for decades, stood up against injustice from the civil rights era to the HIV/AIDS epidemic, standing against apartheid South Africa and the Black Lives Matter movement. This is a history I have always been proud of as a Bay Area resident. And now this is a moment, just like in our rich San Francisco history, where we have the opportunity to be on the side where we will be remembered for what we stood for and the actions we took at this time. We must stand against the fascist institutions and players who try to silence us. Do the right thing, drop the charges, and stand on the right side of history. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker this morning is Deborah Joy. Deborah, you have 2 minutes to speak.
Hi. Yes, my name is Dr. Deborah Joy. I, along with others, the dropping of the restitution charges against the Golden Gate 26 about on free speech and the right to demonstrate that such charges invoke. This was a peaceful protest. There was always emergency lanes open if anyone had an emergency issue to get in and out. So this was a peaceful protest against this horrible genocide. The Bay Area has always had the tradition of protest and free speech, and along with others, I say it is very puzzling why this group of demonstrators is being potentially punished to such a high extent. So I strongly urge the board, in the spirit of free speech, the supposed free speech in our country, to drop those charges. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Wendy Fang. Wendy, you have 2 minutes to speak.
Hi, thank you. Good morning. My name is Dr. Wendy Fang. I'm a psychiatrist and have been a resident of the Bay Area since 2012. I currently reside in San Mateo and really have loved Golden Gate Bridge, going across it for hikes and marine, camping. Just, it's a privilege to live here. I'm also calling to urge the board to drop the restitution charges and claims against the Golden Gate 26. This charge is not only illogical, it is going to cost taxpayers much more for the city to receive these charges or these monetary gains than is even worth it. And I would like for every time I cross the bridge to be a reminder of the vibrant culture and social justice values that the city has always espoused, and not to be standing on the wrong side of history in this moment. Thank you.
President Cochran, that is our last speaker this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank everyone for your comments. This concludes the public comment portion of our agenda. We're going to move on to item number 5 to approve the consent agenda. Before we take our vote, are there any questions from board members on the consent agenda? If not, I'd take a motion to approve. So moved. Here a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Let the record show there's no opposition. The motion passes. And moving on to item number 6A, which is a report from General Manager. Dennis, would you please give us your report?
Thank you, President Cochran, members of the board, members of the public. My written report is before you. I will draw your attention to a couple items in the report. The first item deals with Senate Bill 129. The governor signed the state budget on June 30th and signed a flurry of budget trailer bills associated with that. One of those was very important to our organization. Cal OSHA implemented a new regulation for lead in the workplace and in construction sites effective January 1, 2025. As part of that rollout, they issued a guide for employers in December. Everyone trained based on that, developed training materials based on that, and that had some new restrictions on how long someone can hold a blast hose on a construction site, even if they're wearing a respirator hooked up to clean outside air. Our contractor for our CMGC seismic retrofit project notified us that this would probably result in about a $200 million cost increase for us. So we went to Sacramento, met with folks, and let them know that we had a problem we needed to solve. So in response to that, we met with the governor's staff. We met with legislative staff from the leadership in both houses, as well as several members, and we shared with them our problem. We then later met with Cal OSHA staff. And Cal OSHA staff's meeting was interesting because they said things that were contrary to the employer guide. We shared a copy of the employer guide afterwards, and the next day they took it off their website. A week later, they issued a new employer guide that contradicted 180 degrees what was in the prior one, and they said the problem was solved. The problem is we're getting bids as we speak from painting subcontractors. So in order to achieve certainty, because long-term the issue was solved, but to have certainty for bidders, to remove the confusion and chaos, Senate Bill 129 includes a one-time exemption for this one construction contract. It does not affect our employees. It does not affect other projects. We were able to successfully achieve that under the helpful leadership of Director Snyder. We were able to get the Painters Union District Council 16, the Laborers Union, and other unions to weigh in on behalf of it. And these were the unions that would have been potentially affected by it. So we're very pleased because it solved a rather significant problem that we had with respect to our need to award that construction contract by September, later this calendar year. We need to obligate the funds by September 30th or we'll lose it. With respect also to that contract, we have a $400 million bridge investment program grant that is discretionary that we will be obligating hopefully in the next couple of weeks. But earlier this week, we did sign an agreement with Caltrans, known as a high-cost bridge agreement, for an additional $200 million of federal funds allocated by Caltrans. And so that project is moving. Yesterday, as part of the chief engineer's report, he highlighted all the things they've checked off in the last couple of weeks with respect to the environmental clearance, all the various permits, BCDC, the Park Service, and others. So we look forward to obligating that money and awarding a contract later this calendar year to put a lot of men and women from labor to work here to protect the bridge for future generations. One other thing I want to highlight is that there's been a lot of conversation in Sacramento about a transportation measure for Bay Area voters that would perhaps provide some funding. Several Bay Area transit agencies, including Golden Gate, have a deficit rising from the pandemic impacts. We have spent all of our federal COVID relief money. We did receive some state money through Senate Bill 125 that is part of your budget for the current fiscal year. Budget for the current fiscal year, though, is a deficit budget. So it's quite problematic. Senate Bill 63 contemplates voters in at least 3 counties, San Francisco, Alameda, and Contra Costa, considering voting on a measure that would provide transit operating money for a period of time. Earlier this week, on Wednesday, the authors, Senator Wiener and Senator Ergin, issued a draft expenditure plan for Senate Bill 63, and I'm pleased to inform you that it included a modicum of money for the Bridge District. We are not fully within the limits of the proposed measure because we operate in Marin and Sonoma counties, but our ferry service takes thousands of cars off of San Francisco streets every day, and so there is a recognition of that. So the draft expenditure plan contemplates $1 million a year of operating subsidy if voters were to embrace that. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of that, and we're very grateful for the authors that they included us. Then the final item on my agenda is always the one that I look forward to every month, and that's the Employee of the Month. So I would ask John Everly, our district engineer, to escort Ramses Johnson to the front of the room. Ramses is a senior civil engineer. He was hired by the district in 2014. He was nominated for several reasons. One is our finance staff very much appreciated the tour of the bridge and explanation of what we do as part of our bonding agency or rating agency reviewing us. But most importantly, he has worked tirelessly on the suicide deterrent system. He has climbed up and down ladders and the steel on the side of the bridge through rain, wind, and sun to ensure that those 7 football fields of netting have been installed. And so it is a legacy to the Bridge District, your tireless efforts to ensure that. And it is quite miserable out there many days, not just today. And so I want to acknowledge that. He grew up in San Francisco, went to high school in San Francisco, went to college back east in Atlanta, Morehouse, Georgia Tech. And he's a tremendous addition to our team. Most importantly, he recently got engaged. And so it's a great time for him to be part of our team, and we're very appreciative for all that you do. So thank you, Ramses.
I wasn't prepared to speak, but thank you so much for the honor. And being from San Francisco, this does mean something. So I definitely appreciate the opportunity to do some public service. And so it's deeply felt. And so I would just ask for some photos so that everyone does. But thank you so much, everyone.
You'd be good on your wedding announcement.
I think I'm selfie. Perfect. Great.
All right.
One aside, because we have some newer members of the board. Several years ago, the board authorized the expenditure of funds to make a documentary of the suicide deterrent system. And to let you know when that movie is finalized and comes out, Ramses will be one of the people that'll be in the film because Ramses and Ken and some of the other people that were the inspectors out there were people that made it happen. So I just wanted to share that. That concludes my report. I'm available to answer any questions that you might have.
Any, Jim Maston?
Yeah. Just a brief question. How difficult would it be to include 2019 bicycle counts in future reports, just so we have a
comparison.
We can gladly do that, just a little more real estate on the page, but we'll gladly do that if that's the
It
interest.
should only be a one-time thing because that wouldn't change much.
That's right. That's right. We used to include it, we dropped it but you're right, because that is pre-pandemic, it would show.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions of Dennis? Chris?
Yeah, I noticed that you guys extended the ATU's contract and you had your report on the pension fund. Are you guys going to
talk about that in a minute?
Okay.
That's under it'll come up next under or shortly under the attorney's report. We'll ask you to vote on that item.
Okay.
And then at that time, we can fill you in on the details.
Thank you.
All right. With that, Dennis, thank you for your report. We're going to move on to item number 6B, which is the attorney's report. Today we have Catherine Sue with us to provide the attorney's report. Catherine, please proceed.
Thank you, President Cochran. Included in your packet today is the attorney's report, which summarizes the matters we've assisted on over the past month, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Hearing no questions, we can move on to 6B2A, and I will turn it over to my colleague, Molly Caban.
Good morning, everyone. Excuse me, I'm Molly Caban, the district's Labor and Employment Counsel and Chief Negotiator for all of our 27 union contracts here at the district. A little background on why we are asking you to vote on a contract extension agreement with the ATU this time around. As I believe most of you are aware, we have been dealing with very difficult issues with this bargaining unit. Two in particular are the pay formula, which is a series of premiums and calculations used to calculate the bus operators' compensation. And that we're attempting to change that pay formula to align with current service levels, which have changed quite a bit in the last several years. That process has been held up because there are service changes anticipated in the next 6 months or so related to the regional measures to align different transit agencies' services. So there's a big question there, what the service will look like and how that pay formula would play out. And it's something the bus operators are very hesitant to agree to until they know what those service levels are. The other big issue, of course, is the underfunded pension. This has been an issue for a long time. There's been many briefings to this board on the status of that underfunded pension. One of the possible fixes we are looking at is transferring the bus operators into CalPERS away from the ATU pension. We think this would be a win-win. The ATU is very interested in this solution. It would take the governance of the plan out of the districts and the union's hands and give it to CalPERS. Obviously, they are the experts in this area and provide our operators with a much more stable pension. So we're interested in this, definitely, and the ATU is as well. We've submitted a lot of information to CalPERS for them to complete an actuarial analysis so we can get a price tag for this. It will be expensive. We know that, because CalPERS is not going to take over these pension liabilities without payment from the district. We're just not totally sure what that price tag is right now, but we have CalPERS working on it. You know, we've given them quite a bit of information, and they have internal actuaries who will run the analysis and will give the district an assessment of what it will cost. But the good news is they haven't said no. This is something that is possible and could be a great option for us. But again, we don't know yet. We don't have that information. We don't have the price tag. So it's been difficult to negotiate a pension solution without that information. So there's been delays. We're a little bit of a standstill to coming to a comprehensive agreement without the information that we need. We're hoping we get that information in the next 3 to 6 months. But in the meantime, we didn't want the bus operators just sitting and waiting with an expired contract. It does expire at the end of the month, the current contract, without a wage increase. That didn't seem fair to the group. So we negotiated a 1-year extension with the ATU. The only change would be a 3.75 wage increase. And that does seem high, I know, but it is what the coalition unions are getting. So it is consistent with the rest of the district's increase. And it is only 1 year. We are planning to continue to meet during the course of this extension agreement. We're not just passing the buck down for a year, but when we get that bill, if you will, from CalPERS, we're going to go right back to the table and see if we can implement it. So our intent is not to just delay and delay. Our intent is to work on these issues during this 1-year extension, but not make our bus operators wait indefinitely for a wage increase. So that's the rationale for bringing this 1-year extension agreement to you. We brought it to the Labor Committee, obviously, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
And for the record, the APU took this to their members and they voted in favor of this. So the last step would be your approval.
Yes, the unit has already ratified it. We do get ratification before we bring it to the board.
Barbara, you had
Thank you. I think Dennis answered my question. It was, do the rank and file of the union understand that it's only 1 year and that there are other things on the table or not finished?
Yes, they definitely do. There's been a lot of discussion among the bus operators about the contract extension, about what their priorities are. So I understand there's been very robust conversation.
Oh, good. Thank you very much.
With the operators.
Chris?
Yeah, I noticed that you guys are not making the actuarial required contribution this year to the pension, and there's that huge liability there, and it's that's correct. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, it is a percentage-based contribution right now.
I mean, because I think we're behind. I mean, I know I don't sit on that subcommittee, but I sat on the pension fix, and we weren't able to bring that forward, which was pretty disappointing. And I know we need at least $5 or $6 million a year, and every year we don't do that, and we don't go to CalPERS. It's a huge, huge issue. And so I just urge you guys to. Is there a chance we could still get an actuarial required contribution this year within this contract, or is that off the table completely if we ratify it?
It's off the table if we ratify this, but if in the next couple of months we get information from CalPERS, it's our intention if we could solve the pension, we would take it to the board, and the bus drivers union would take it to their members as soon as we have a deal. So the goal is to solve the pension, but at this juncture, the only change to the contract is what's written before you, and it was to give them a pay raise.
I guess I would just say it's very, very, very frustrating being on the trust and having zero ability to actually fix the pension without you guys allowing us to put more money into it. And so if it's not $5 million, it's going to be another $10 million or $12 million next year. It's really kind of scary being on that thing, and it's extremely frustrating to not be able to take any kind of action from that point of view, except for very small things that aren't really good.
Right. So I have openly discussed with the ATU possibly implementing changes prior to the end of this agreement. That's something we told Shane and his colleagues that we wanted to do. If we do come up with a solution during the term, that we wouldn't wait to the end of the term. We would have some sort of side letter implementing that solution, even if the contract had not expired yet. And they're eager to do that as well. And what you're saying, though, highlights sort of an advantage of going to CalPERS, right? It wouldn't be the trust board's obligation to solve that anymore. It would all be in the hands of CalPERS. So that's just really an aside, but highlighting the advantage of that possible solution.
No, I think that's a great path forward. I think that's the right thing to do, and it would take a huge. I mean, there's a lot of personal liabilities for us being on there.
Yes.
Just says, we're trying to do the right thing for the district and everything, but it's frustrating when you're so handcuffed and what you can do on that board and the way it's structured. But thank you for all your efforts, and it sounds like you guys are making some progress. Include my comments.
Okay. Holly, you had something?
Yes, I just want to echo Director Snyder's comments. When the actuary came before this board for the pension trust, I called for funding at a level of $4 to $5 million every year of the pension, irrespective of negotiations. The reason why I called for that is because the pension's underwater. So the fact that in the past we've tried to get things to give money to the pension, I don't think is the right strategy. These are our workers, and they deserve to have a pension when they retire. So I would echo Chris's comments, and I would like to see assuming that CalPERS does not take over the pension in the next few months, and, that's also the union would have to agree to CalPERS taking over the pension. I would like to see $4 to $5 million going into that pension for the reasons I've stated publicly numerous times. It's a little frustrating because, the pension just gets more and more underwater.
And the discussions about
seems like it's okay. And it seems like we're just in this holding pattern where it's getting worse and worse. And we are responsible for the pension. They're our employees, and it's our pension.
Yes, and we realize there's a possibility that the CalPERS option doesn't work. So we're not ignoring the current pension plan. We're still looking at that. And if we're not able to move the bus operators to CalPERS for whatever reason, it's too expensive, something, that we still need to find a solution to fix the current pension. The big problem, obviously, is how to pay for that. So it's a complicated issue. It's one we've been struggling with for many years. But again, we're not just sort of sitting back and watching it go down the tubes without working on it.
And for the record, a solution that if we can't go down the CalPERS path, the solution to fix it would come forward to you with recommendations from staff to change the governance of that pension. Because if you do a fix today, it could go sideways again tomorrow. And for the record, that pension still acts in a manner separate from every other pension that I'm aware of, in that it does not have a strong connection between contributions received on behalf of a member and the earnings on those contributions in the ultimate payout. For example, they still give away money to early retirees. So if someone is 60 years old as a bus driver and they drove for 30 years and they retire, they'll get the same monthly pension as a bus driver who's 50 years old and drove for 30 years, even though the 50-year-old person will live probably 10 years longer and get a lot more money out. And so changing the governance of the existing plan is something that would have to be addressed if we cannot go down the CalPERS path. And the past practice of giving away money to people or their survivors, will have to cease. Otherwise, you would not be fulfilling your obligation to our ratepayers to throw money at a pension that gives money away, unlike any other pension. So anyway, we're looking at all options, but just to be clear, this pension has been very poorly managed for decades. And that's not a knock on the trustees. The governance of the plan makes it difficult to fix things. They have made some fixes in recent years, but there's more fixes that need to be done so that it functions like every other pension plan. And one of the benefits of transitioning to CalPERS, if we can do that, is it solves that governance problem where trustees won't be making decisions that affect them personally, such as if they want to retire early next year. So anyway, we look forward to you hopefully voting on the item before you. The union membership has voted for it, and we have a moral obligation to fix this pension, and we will fix it.
Thank you. May I have a motion on item number 6B2A, which will authorize ratification of a 1-year extension to the memorandum of understanding? You will? All right. I have a motion, and it includes a 3 3/4% wage increase. I have a motion and a second. I have all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Let the record show there's no opposition. The motion passes. Catherine, do you have anything further to report?
That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. We will now move on to item number 6C. We'll have a closed session at the end of our agenda. 6C, a report from the district engineer. As a reminder, the engineer's report can be found in the Building and Operating Committee's packet. It's agenda item number 5, and John will present this report. John, please proceed.
Thank you. Morning, directors. My written report is in the packet. I just want to highlight a few items. First of all, we successfully completed the pump replacement project at the Larkspur Ferry Terminal at our fuel farm. That went successfully, and that is now complete. I also wanted to report that we began demolition work at the San Francisco Ferry Terminal outer berth. We've been working at around the clock, all hours of the day due to the tides out there. So that work is progressing. I wanted to report that the electrical equipment, we're still having challenges receiving equipment. Equipment is supposed to arrive now sometime in August, and we're tracking that, and we'll go to construction installation once that's received. And then as General Manager reported, we did receive all of our permits and all of our other authorizations, environmental reevaluations for the seismic project. We're very happy about that. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Well, thank you, John. Let's move on then to item 8A, which is a report from yesterday's Building and Operating Committee. Chair Gabarino, please begin your committee report.
Thank you, President Cochran. The Building and Operating Committee recommends approval of item number 8A1 to authorize execution of professional services agreement number 2025F026, Larkspur Ferry Terminal Diesel Exhaust Fluid, DEF, Storage, Tank, and Transfer Infrastructure Engineering Design Services with Moffett & Nichol of Walnut Creek in an amount not to exceed $658,284 to perform engineering design services for a diesel exhaust fluid storage tank and transfer infrastructure project at the Larkspur Ferry Terminal, and establish a 15% contingency for the agreement in the amount of $98,743, with the understanding that sufficient funds are available in the fiscal year 2025 Ferry Division capital budget for project number 2540. LFT DEF storage and transfer infrastructure design to finance these actions as detailed in the staff report, and I so move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any questions relating to this item? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Let the record show there's no opposition. The motion passes. Chair Gabarino, do you have anything further to report?
Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Continuing on to item 8B on the agenda, which is a report of yesterday's Financing and Auditing Committee. Chair Rapp was unable to attend today. He's got jury duty, and Vice Chair Parr will provide us with today's report. Barbara, would you please?
Yes, thank you, President Cochran. We have two items for recommendation from yesterday's Finance Auditing Committee meeting. The first is item 8B1, which is to authorize a district division capital budget transfer of $3 million from project number 1810 ERP Enterprise Resource Planning System Replacement to project number 2515 ERP Expansion and Improvement Project Scope and Design, totaling the project budget for project 2015 to $4,140,493 as detailed in the staff report, and I so move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions on the item? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Hearing none, let the record show there is no opposition. Vice Chair Parr, please continue with your report.
Yes, I do have a second item. The second item for recommendation is item 8B2, which is to authorize the general manager to file an application with the Metropolitan Transportation Commission for fiscal year 2025-26 Transportation Development Act, State Transit Assistant, Regional Measure 2, Regional Measure 3, and Senate Bill 125 operating funds to support bus, ferry, and paratransit services in the amount of $65,767,610, with the understanding that the approval of this item will also authorize the general manager to file revisions to this application if projected funding amounts change during the fiscal year 25-26 as detailed in the staff report, and I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second that.
All in favor, second. Are there any questions on this item? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Let the record show there's no opposition. Vice Chair Parr, do you have anything further?
Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you. No addresses to the board under item 9. We have no special order of business under item number 10. Number 11 is unfinished business, which I will turn over to our attorney, Catherine. I guess we need to go into closed session.
The board will now go into closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9A regarding existing litigation. This is David De La Paz v. Golden Gate Bridge Highway and Transportation District.
Thank you for your patience, everybody. While we're in closed session, I'd like to ask you to please keep your own devices on mute. Thanks.
Okay, we're back in open session.
Okay. Catherine, please provide us your closed session report.
The board met in closed session and provided appropriate guidance to the attorney to Snyder. Thank you.
Holly, you had a comment?
Yes, I just wanted to go quickly back to the minutes. It's just a minor thing for rules and for the last board meeting. I just wanted to add the statement that I read under the item. It was item 3. Yeah, it was item 3. I just wanted to add the statement as part of the minutes. Thank you.
You have the statement?
Yeah, I can. Yes.
Okay, that would be helpful.
Yeah, no problem.
Otherwise, we're typing it completely verbatim.
No, I have it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 12A, which is a report on meetings and conferences attended by directors. I'd like to first call on Vice President Hill and Director Gabarino to provide a report to the board.
Yes, traveled to Kansas.
And I missed it, I'm sorry.
Microphone.
Yes, we traveled to Kansas via Denver. Terrible.
Hey, that's my homeland.
Right.
Anyway.
Kansas, closer.
And various problems. It's kind of interesting having this at the same time the President of the United States and all of his.
Move your mic to the other side. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Congress is barely figuring out what they're going to do. And this discussion is like it's normal. It isn't normal at all. And so my comment is everybody was talking about what they wanted to do and what they wished could be done and everything else. And meanwhile, they've been so busy doing other things, they're not really voting for funding and things like that. So that sort of sums it up. Would you say the same thing?
Pretty much, yeah. I have a follow-up to your report, dear Bird. It'll take me about 45 minutes.
Okay.
Sure. I'll get started right away. Yeah, you do? Okay.
Rob said he was leaving.
Yeah. Well, I'll know where to stop well before. So it was interesting for me because I had not been before to an APTA conference. So, and it was hard not to also parallel it, not that it was anywhere near as interesting as a garbage hauling conference, but the camaraderie and the information shared was certainly wonderful and profound. So Exactly. I took notes and I also took some pictures of the presentations, which, by the way, what a group, right? They meet on Saturday night, they meet all day on Sunday, and they meet all day on Monday and all Tuesday morning. This is a hardworking group. So you're right, Bert, they started with some sort of hopeful explanation of the Trump administration, which was done very well by a gentleman named Eric Losser, HB Strategies. Man, can he wordsmith in a brilliant way and a benevolent way, too. He highlighted IIJA funding pauses, DOE freezes, the review of unobligated and pending grants, effort to rescind all charging programs. Sorry about that, Bert. I thought last night maybe I should mention that again to kind of rub salt in the wound. But the termination of certain policies, as we all know, DOGE and impounding congressional funding, with also a 2-year remaining in IIJA funding and approximately $300 billion concern rising in that policy in the Transportation Committee. He also highlighted Congress, the appropriations and reauthorization. The House T. HUD bill was significant in CIG reduction from the budget. So slashing is big for this administration, which is cruel.
Did they use any real words or was it all alphabet?
You know, next time you got to come when this guy speaks. It's phenomenal. He was almost as good as Dennis in terms of the way you bring bad news to a topic, not knowing who's in your audience. So the IIJA, again, he gave a reauthorization outlook. In budgeting, proposes flat funding, and the aim was for markups in the fall. How many more markups there could be, it was scary to think. He ended it, though, with it's an important time, like we talked about earlier, to engage, partner, advocate, and stick together. He also highlighted the fact that the role that we all as board members play in the good news, in enhancing our economy is huge. It not only creates jobs in what we do, but it also enhances the economy where rail or bus or ferry happens. It improves the economy by 25% in addition to those jobs that are created. Then we talked about strategic priorities, one of which was aggressive advocacy for sustained investment in public transportation, a la what you just heard, elevating transit as a career and the transit workforce and enhancing their safety. He also saw an evolution in procurement and the need for strengthening APTA's reach, impact, and influence. Then we had another speaker from Utah. I was able to thank her. We now have her Eddie Cummins at SMART, right? And she took that well. Her biggest statement was non-users, and this is really important, especially for those who are interested in the outcome of the voter initiative in Marin and Sonoma on SMART. The non-users benefit the most from transit. And sorry, I didn't print this for everyone, but these are the same riders in this short little line as are in all of these in cars down below. That's the offset. So that was very positive. Leadership was a thrust. Welcome to the golden era. This was the leadership subset of a meeting. Welcome to the golden era of chaos, right? Where, which sounds very Italian, actually. They do chaos really well. Where disruption isn't an occasional storm, but a permanent climate. Wasn't designed, this was not designed in a vacuum. We know what's happened politically. It was forged in the fire of existential threats, impossible deadlines, and regulatory purgatory. Also, as far as leadership goes, and I'm almost done. Our contribution will be optimized as leaders when we conduct ourselves with professionalism, poise, and avoid provocation of micromanagement and being judicious. that we maintain perspective and properly balance transformational activity with operational reality. So those for me were highlights, as were our opportunity to bond over food. And on the way back from this wonderful restaurant where they served, was it alligator or crocodile?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alligator. We did not have that, but we.
I didn't go, by the way.
No, you were there. You were sitting right next to me. Yeah, it was great. That southern the alligator.
He's denying it.
He's afraid the alligator coalition. It was my most important point in going out to dinner was to a person. We were greeted with that southern hospitality. People were so friendly and helpful, even people you didn't know on the street. So we went to that Lulu's restaurant on the way back, and this is my final point. Some artists did this on a brick wall. Also, brick buildings we don't see here, right, for obvious reasons. But I'll read it. Fewer walls, more opportunities. There you go. That's my report. But finally, that same gentleman that I would love to hear again, and you got to come. We've never known more or understood less. So let me go back to the positive. Good. So thank you everyone for the opportunity. I really, really enjoyed it and enjoyed being there with my colleagues.
Good. Bert?
I've got a couple more. In 2023 in Seattle, they advertised that they stopped collecting fares in, and so what happened was it stimulated the economy. People were shopping, people were doing things they weren't doing before from the benefit of having no fare. And I believe that it's the only one in the country was doing that. So we got that, and then you can tell how great it was and everything else. But now they're starting fairs again.
Next year.
Yeah.
Which will really be fun for them.
Yeah, that made it.
Get them hooked.
The other thing is we got a bus ride all over where they're working to build moderate income housing and provide transit with it, so they're catching transit with Glover to help. And then lastly, the last day, they're talking about the bus drivers in the context of the trouble with them being injured, abused, all the problems that bus drivers have within that area, and what they're doing to deal with it, to stop it. I asked a question that was not within their area at the end, in relative to do they know whether or not their health care is much higher than other grades or anything like that. If they have the person who was describing the other one said, no, it's described it right within the range of other workers. And I brought that up because we have a much higher cost, as you know, with our bus operators. After a lot of talking, we determined that if the bus drivers are regional, it happens to be much higher. But if it's in urban, it's not higher. And we've been, what the, well, I won't call it a conclusion, what the interpretation is that traveling long distances, driving, is harming your health. And then they agreed on the next one. They're going to come up with some advice and some looking at what that would be
Okay, thank you for your report. Any questions of the two board members that went? Not,
I just had a comment.
yes.
It sounds like due to the schedule, you both very much earned this trip. And thank you for representing all of us there. It sounds like it was an opportunity.
Thank you.
It was.
All right. As a reminder, please contact the district secretary's office if you need copies of the communications that you received. Colleagues, we have now reached the end of our agenda. There are no further items to be presented to the board. I have a motion to adjourn this meeting. So moved. Do I have a second? I assume that a second out there.
I think we should stay longer.
I have questions. Let us now adjourn this meeting in silence in honor of retired supervising vessel master Hans Stiller and bus operator Wilford Owens and our former board of director members Jim Eddy.
Yes.
Director Master?
Yep. So today we adjourn this board meeting in honor of Jim Eddy, who passed away peacefully on July 13th at his home in Potter Valley, surrounded by family. Former president of this board, he served the Golden Gate Bridge District distinction for over 20 years. In a 2018 interview, Jim was quoted as saying, "The district is in the last leg of a seismic retrofit." Well, that's not the first time a well-intentioned statement has gone a bit sideways. As his daughter Katie has said, quote, "My dad was a man of convictions, but people mattered most. He really worked at bridging the gaps." And I don't think bridging the gaps was meant to be a pun, but Jim was a kind, thoughtful, and reasonable man who was plain speaking and a good listener, not qualities often found in an elected official. He will be missed by the various communities of interest that he served. May Jim Eddy rest in peace.
Thank you, Jim. Please, a moment of silence. That concludes the board meeting for July 25th, 2025. Thank you all for coming.